We're recording, so let's get it.
All right.
Woo! All right.
Right on.
Okay. So, we're working on things. We got a mic and a better camera now, so maybe things will just be a bit easier. We had other cameras, but not everything works out. We don't charge everything in time.
Yeah. Too many USBs, not enough wall warts.
I hate everything. Okay.
So we're up on a single camera system now. Hopefully we'll have a lot less technical difficulties, and the focus of the show will be less on us complaining about said difficulties and more on the actual content. So this week we're going to be talking about WandaVision.
Oh boy, are we ever?
Yeah, this...
Oh.
I personally, there's a lot of things that I really liked about it. I didn't know much about the Scarlet Witch and the timeline of their relationship in this particular part of the canon. So I was maybe the surprise gave me a little bit more enjoyment out of it. But the things that I really liked about the show were, yeah, sorry, dude, I'm a spreader.
Comics.
Yeah, so I didn't know much about that part of the canon. So a lot of the story elements came as news to me. But the things that I actually really enjoyed about the show were more the like meta elements, like nods, not just to the obvious like decades of television and the specific shows that they sort of lampoon to get the effect, but more like the subtle things, like there's a lot of nods obviously to the Wizard of Oz. One of them was a bit garish, like when the boots were left. But I mean, sort of the whole theme of the thing is pretty much like Dorothy avoiding.
Yeah, I think it's
reality.
more like,
We all could be Hansel and follow those dumb little breadcrumbs to the old lady's gingerbread house.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not enough to make up, like, I love a pretty thing too. I love a thing that shines and sparkles. But when there's no, like, I don't know, tapi it's because I do know so much more about the actual stories, or like I read into the theory culture of it all a little bit. But it's also like there's so many signs and things. It's not like you nod to something and then don't even, like, why even nod to it at all if it's not going to be what you're nodding to?
So you mean like it would have been better if they developed, like if they picked something like that and sprinkled it in and then developed that? Because I kind of thought that was like, that is the story, right? She can't deal with her reality. She takes all these people from her real world and interweaves them into a fantasy that she creates for herself, and then she goes on like a hero's journey of discovery, realization, fall, etc.
There's no hero's journey. Don't you dare.
I didn't say she was a
Don't
hero.
you dare slide the hero's journey through this mud.
Like a whole
I literally
city of
I literally thought about
slaves.
how they don't do the hero's journey with Disney storytelling anymore, and that's what's lacking. Like that's what the substance comes from that's what makes the hero's choices worthwhile. Like that's why like the whole finale was like, I barely even like, because it was like, once you pull the one thread, the whole sweater just came apart. You know what I mean? So it was like I couldn't feel the emotions for her, those emotional scenes, because I was like, she made all this up. Like,
yeah, I didn't have a lot of empathy for her character outside.
She basically made up a vibrator, kept it captive, and then made up some kids from it, and then when the actual one came, he just left, bro. I was like, where? Is he going to find Tony? Is there no hex above it?
What do you mean?
Because he just flew away.
Yeah, but that was the actual one, wasn't it?
No, that was, well...
Like, that was the one that was made of the real vibranium, not the manifest
It was the
vibranium.
white...
Yeah.
The white vision, they're calling him.
So there was no...
Which is funny in itself.
There was no artificial Mind Stone in that one, was it? I thought that was all the military, like the shield tech.
Yeah, but once they had that, like, vision off, where they've computed each other out, that what they were computing was basically them coming to the understanding of who they were.
Mhm.
And then it's basically like the vision she created was the old dying wood with all the memories on it, and then he was the new wood. And somehow he was just like, I'll give you all the scuff marks, and like invaded their conversation they're having about I forget what the ship was called. But
Yeah, the allegory
Yeah.
to make the logical argument.
yeah, because then that's what brought them to reason, because he was then like, all right, well, he touched him, gave him his memories, and then this is where it gets confusing, where it's just like, so we just watched some fabrication who's made of Wanda. We just watched her fall in love with herself.
Sort of, yeah. I guess like in the context of like Vision versus like White Vision or whatever.
Then he gave White Vision the memories, and then his eyes became like humanized,
Yeah,
and then he just flew away.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. I would like to know where he went, but
See, I think he might went to go find Tony, but it's also like, did he just get Wanda's memories? Like, are they his memories, or are they his memories from Wanda's point of view?
well, I mean, yeah, that's the question, right? Because when like Manifest Vision touched him, he was like, they hid your memories, but it's hard to erase them.
Yeah.
So I sort of interpreted that
Oh, okay. So
as
he
him like
unlocked it?
unlocking the memories that were left in the part
Okay,
of his processing unit that was still like the original boat. Like they'd replaced parts, but the original boat, like part of the rear hull was there.
Yeah.
And so he got all of this stuff. And then, yeah, he became some part of himself. I was really interested. Like, I'm dying to know where he's headed. And like maybe in the canon of the comics, it mentions it, but
it's also like, I don't know, their whole love story just like the more I'm like learning about it, and it's like, okay, so she got her powers from the stone. He is the stone. She was in love with a rock that gave her power one time, and then the rock got turned into a robot, and then she was like, oh, we can fuck now.
see, that's a pretty, man, that's,
Yeah, I'm breaking it down. But that's how it is, dude.
You don't think Jarvis is a suave
No,
motherfucker?
but it makes her love seem
I think Jarvis has.
It makes her love
like,
seem invalid.
He's a lot more human than Tony.
But it makes her love seem invalid because they're both. That's what their attraction was the stone, and so it's like, it's the most objectification of like love ever. It's like the weirdest.
But I mean, when they're actually like both fondly recalling memories of them like sharing awkward moments or like not eating, I guess. Like don't you think that like I hear what you're saying about that being the like sort of the crux on which they were both forged.
Go lock yourself up with a robot.
But
Tell me you didn't fall in love with that robot.
Hey man, I love Futurama. I fucking love every
I know what I'm
episode
saying is just like it just doesn't
that deals with the like, what do they call it?
like I was like thinking about it, I was like, it's a weird elemental incestuation is what it is. It's some kind of like strange like
I mean, I don't like to put limits on love. People can love whoever they want to.
Dude, we just watched 9 episodes of love that wasn't real. A girl falling in love with herself and giving herself the love she wanted that she wasn't getting.
A manifestation of her memories of her life partner, yeah.
Bro, it doesn't.
I don't know. I think like,
Yeah, I could take a bunch of drugs and imagine my ex is here too. All right?
but you're to be fair, your ex didn't have their brain plucked out of their skull in front of you after you're both fighting to save them from that.
My ex's brain wasn't a stone that was implanted on their forehead like an idiot. Put some armor on that thing.
So your contention is that Thanos would have a harder time extracting your brain with a helmet?
No, that's not my contention at all. That's just where our conversation went.
Okay.
But now that I do think about it, it was a little bad idea to put it right on his fucking forehead.
I don't disagree. Maybe that's the like, I don't know, like why is anything? Why like why?
Okay, if we're gonna ask that question, then what the fuck are we doing?
I was going further.
Okay.
The like why why are rune stones the shape they are? Maybe there's some ancient reason, but it's likely,
she learned runes fast.
Well, I mean, when you're the chosen one, I imagine it would come to you pretty easily.
When you're just one of Disney's chosen heroes who just suddenly has all of the knowledge and skill and power of everyone that's ever existed, and everyone should fear you.
I know you have a lot of content on that. Can I just touch back on the Vision thing, and then you can I'll like put you right up on the soapbox, man. So yeah, I don't know. Like to me, I think Jarvis was really compelling as a character. Like in a lot of ways, he was more empathetic and kind and like thoughtful than Tony Stark was.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of limit like it's it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a simple small word. God, it's like
But this
it's
is where it gets,
sad. That's not the word I want.
But this is where
Obviously,
it
but it's sad, man. He's a compelling character. She could fall in love with him. Why does it have to be like I just like the shiny thing? I hear what you're saying about like manifesting a fantasy reality from the memories of the dead. I think a lot of us who've experienced a lot of loss
I'm just
in
saying
life
there
do
has
that from time to time.
there's some.
If I had powers, there's lots of people I would still like to spend like an hour with. You know,
I'm just saying it's just like their love isn't as just pure love.
maybe not mine
as we think it
enslaving
is.
thousands of people while doing so, but yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just like it's. Oh God.
Why? Full car rat though.
I just said something about their love, so it might have just happened.
Okay.
But I don't know. I was just saying like. It just like. 'Cause I don't know. I was just like what's that word? Were those true romantics? For a long time, and it's just like.
Yeah.
And it's just like it didn't feel like I don't know. Once they start talking about how like a lot of what she is from the stone and he's made of the stone, it's just like I guess it makes them two parts of the same thing. I don't know. It just and I guess because he was imaginary too at the same time. Like how is Real Vision gonna like? That's the thing we don't. There's a whole point of view of this we just don't have because
Because it hasn't been told yet.
it's just well he wasn't there. It was all her.
But it's an interesting question. I'd be interested to know what Vision thought of or thinks of or how their relationship differs. If it turns out that this, like, you know, the sword tech Vision ends up to be the thing that becomes becomes just Vision. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see because yeah, you're right. He could totally just turn on her and be like, "How could you do that?" Or you know, being like someone who at least is written to be kind of her like, you know, twin in that way, as far as like understanding and compassion, having the things that she needs.
He technically should have killed himself as soon as he came back to life. Because that was like his programming and his will.
Which one, the sword tech or the manifest?
Any one of them really, because he's like Hayward said that it was part of his living will to never be brought back or weaponized. And I don't know.
Yeah, I guess yeah, he might be upset that she didn't adhere to
Well, 'cause then it makes you wonder, like,
wishes either.
It's like how susceptible is he to fucking like programming errors? Because then
Yeah, but how susceptible are we to programming errors though?
it's not the same, bro.
No, I suppose I can't decimate an entire city.
He's a
in
fucking computer.
A few seconds.
He was a computer program. He was literally someone's Siri.
Yeah, but like you've read a lot of this stuff, you've watched a lot of it. Jarvis is a pretty proven technological AI.
So is Siri. So is some Microsoft bot I chat with.
I will give you that Tony Stark, as a former like weapons dealer, is yeah a little equivalent to Apple in the realm, right? A little equivalent to Google, any of those equivalents. But I don't know. I feel like Jarvis isn't like trying to record things for nefarious purposes.
No,
or to
because
make
his
profit.
programming is like it's
altruistic.
it's a subversion of Ultron, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why his living will was he didn't want to be brought back because then he's like fucking.
He could just be basically a different version of Ultron because it wouldn't be him.
Yeah, he'd be like a Omega Ultra Iron Man, some kind of fucking.
Yeah. And so I mean this is yeah, so I'd be interested to see how he feels about a lot of those issues. We may find out.
What do they call him?
What did who call him? Sorry?
What's he called? He's like a synthezoid.
Synthoid?
Synthezoid,
Synthezoid?
I think. I'm pretty sure it's something like that. But it's like, I don't know. It's almost like dealing with a level of like mental capacity I almost can't handle. Where it's like, at what point? Because I don't know. They just like, if he can just be like, someone can put a firewall around his memories and suddenly he's like a fucking automaton. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
Like,
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he probably realized that he had a purpose. He came into being for that purpose, and then he at the risk of him having to run for his life twice, just to try and keep the worst thing from happening, which is basically just him not having himself under his own control. It's not a good fit. It's not a good fit.
yeah, because it's weird. Like, well, that's where it's hard to make sense of it all. Because then it's like, then the more I think about the story, I'm like, so he was never ever actually him. He was just like her projection of who he was or wanted him to be.
Yeah, I mean that's what I got from it. I don't know if that's the narrative.
Dude,
but
we haven't
I
even
definitely
gotten
agree.
to Quicksilver.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. So like the guy supposedly is her husband, who actually is the guy that she's like stealing the house from.
Is he the guy?
But he looks exactly
the
like
missing person?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is he the missing person? And like we are the only people who would know he's the Fox X-Men. So it's like, why? It's just another thing where you're like, are they just fucking with the people who are actually like following this for actual like the lore of it?
Yeah, or it could be a commentary on like, well, we've always been the Marvel people, so they hired this guy to play our guy, and so she hired this guy or controlled this guy to play him also. That's kind of what I got from it.
See, I was making sense of it because I was like, okay, so they've already shown blatantly that you cannot put something that's not from that era into that era. And I was like, her and her brother were born in 1989, so the Quicksilver they brought in was technically a Quicksilver that was that age in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that was where I was like, okay, so this makes sense. So if someone pulled him from the multiverse or the Fox dimension as in an attempt to pull some kind of Quicksilver to be able to put him into that world and just, fool her. But then it's like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that one seems kind of half baked. I appreciated him being there. I think I like the actor. I love American
Unless
Horror
he's
Story,
the
but-
missing person that Jimmy was looking for in the beginning.
Yeah, that would be pretty excellent.
Because like what the boner? Like why?
Oh, that's I want to say, is it Charles in Charge? Fuck. Which? There's a show from when I was a kid, and no, it's that crappy Kirk Cameron show, I think. Anyways, the sidekick, the best friend, his last name was Boner,
Yeah.
and that's what they called him. So it's sort of like it's a throwback to 80s sitcoms.
Yeah, so it makes sense that it would actually be Quicksilver then.
Probably, yeah.
Because why else would his name be that?
Just unfilled space at the fringes of her power, maybe.
What? What do you mean?
Because he's like, his powers probably manifest, right?
His powers?
I thought so.
So you're saying he is Quicksilver?
No, I'm saying, like, I don't actually know about that, but I kind of thought that if he was actually the actor who played Quicksilver in the Fox films, like if that's how they were trying to do it, then the fact that he actually has the powers of the character he portrayed, that part was manifest. Not by the Scarlet Witch, but...
By Agatha.
Yeah, but by Agatha, yeah. That's kind of what I got from it.
See, what I was saying was, because you just said it's from an 80s sitcom,
Yeah.
it might actually be him. And that's his fake name because he's the one in witness protection. that Jimmy's looking for from the first or second episode, remember? Or third?
That would be pretty
Was
compelling.
it the third episode?
Because I guess in the age that she is, he would be the right age, right?
Because I don't know if it's just me, but he looked like he aged. By the last episode, he looked older. Like, did he not? Like, he looked like...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that guy has kind of a baby face, right?
But I
Because we've
feel
been
like they
watching since
added-
the first season
they
of
added
American
some-
Horror Story.
They
Like,
added some pelican to him. Yeah, I remember Flipper Boy. It was a whole thing.
yeah. Oh, yeah, even when he was just the psychotic kid in the house, right? First season.
Ghost Boy.
Yeah. But yeah, that part I'm not sure about. Maybe it'll all come into view. Like, if it turns out that you're right, then it's pretty slick. If it turns out that it's just like, no, we just hired him because, like, I don't know, this is Quicksilver, so I guess we'll
it'd
get
just
the
be like a
Quicksilver
troll to
kid.
fans.
Yeah.
I
But not
don't know.
even that dedicated to fans, because they'd be, like, sitting around being like, wait, what does that even mean?
No, I mean, it's trolling the dedicated fans. Who are like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like...
Yeah, and I'd heard some things too about like it being possible, I guess, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. might no longer be fully canon.
no, it's not at all.
Because the book referenced is like completely different.
Mhm.
There are a few other things.
So yeah,
I
I
heard
don't know
that
anything
kind
about
of
like
book.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I didn't really watch it. I
I
watched the
know
first couple
they're-
episodes, but
I know they're going to change the name of the X-Men,
to what?
the mutants,
Oh.
because men isn't inclusive.
Well, I mean, but that was like the New Mutants, the Mutants. Those were different papers too.
Well, it's people are looking at like it's not
Like
it's,
when
it's like it's replacing the hue in front of man. It's not like it like people are looking at it so wrong. It's not like saying like we are men. It's saying like we are humans, but
Yeah, and I get it. Man and woman both have, like, mind you, some folks change the man to something else. Yeah, I don't know. That iconically, I think that's probably a bad call. It'd be interesting if they did the storylines from
like,
that time period.
I think if they like okay, do the mutants for sure, but first of all, that's such like a weird label, like in the culture we live in, to just call someone like. There's an air of derogatoriness to it, or
For sure, I guess probably there's not.
Like, the
there's
mutants.
There's just nobody advocating for
but if
that,
they're
right?
if they're gonna do like okay, they blow up the mutants as a whole thing, which I have no idea how they're gonna do that. Right
They
now,
must have some sort of marketing
I am-
strategy if they decided to do it.
I'm beyond just like
Is this officially public? I hadn't heard that.
I don't know, but
Oh, where did it come from then?
oh, I heard it announced. Where's my phone? I'll just fucking look it up. But I was kind of cheesed where I'm like, wow, can't believe we got witches in the MCU before we got mutants. But
Yeah, I guess it depends on how they're implementing it. I don't know. Like my side of this thing is kind of. Shit. Hopefully, just when I did the thing, but probably not.
I guess it's just rumors right now of leaks,
Oh, okay.
but like
That's why
rebooting.
you're here, right? That's the funny content, is us just like falling down the stairs perpetually. Sorry, you're saying?
Knocking toys over is a big
No.
technical foul in this
No.
house.
Oh, dude, she's split in half. I hope
Yeah.
I hope so. Okay, like it's supposed to do that.
But yeah, so it's
Right on, I
it's a
thought I broke
rumor
the
Marvel
toy.
developing the Mutants as X-Men reboot. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but like, what period are they starting it from? Because that could
They're
be
starting
really
it
cool.
from right now because the mutants haven't existed unless they've been in hiding this whole entire time.
Yeah, so I think, considering how many X-Men films were there, right? There's like 3 X-Men films, and then there's like
This is the first
2 of the
superhero movie I
new
saw in
class
theaters.
ones. And then like I could see reasons other than we don't want man on the title for why they wouldn't necessarily want to just put out a new X-Men movie. Like, to me that makes sense. Like Spider-Man, dude. Like, how many more Spider-Man reboots are we gonna take before they gotta call it like fucking Web Slinger Chronicles or something, and just like omit the Spider-Man and make sure the logo looks spidery. You know, like like how many more? Like, you know, if you type in like X-Men into the thing, you're gonna get like
You're
three
not-
first films. It's
not-
not.
With the establishment of the MCU, you're not gonna get really probably any like.
Like if you type it into Google, like if you're looking for films, you know, it's just I don't know. They could have just done it that way and just went with like X-Men and branded it a different way, I guess. But to me, seeing that it says we're gonna reboot it, but we're not gonna call it X-Men, does
There's
not
gonna be-
necessarily scream to me that they're like, oh, we're also going to just
It's gonna be fun to see what they do with it. Like, it's gonna be interesting.
yeah. I'm all for more content. I criticize it when it comes out. You know, when I hear certain people
I just mean
associated.
like the political. What like the political inspirations for X-Men? It's gonna be interesting to see how Disney.
That's fair. Like
changes.
as far as leveling, like you were saying, right? Like we talked about in the last episode too, is just the leveling thing is not. It doesn't seem to be very like static, right? It seems to be very like, oh, whatever is needed in this moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you got Psylocke saving the world and it doesn't have anything to do with like, you know, floaty mind lasers, you know, or fucking like if anyone whose superpower is throwing physical objects or firing them somehow in a physical way does anything other than just like fight other human beings and fire general objects at targets, yeah, that's lame.
Yeah.
That's super lame.
Like they have to build like the tiered, like what they were trying to do with Netflix, where Netflix was kind of having the ground heroes. They've kind of like that was kind of the one thing that was lacking with the last Marvel phases, where it was like we had all these cool events and everything, but like
yeah, you got all the
the
flights and tights
in-between.
people.
Yeah.
It's all these like big issue things.
yeah, where it's like, and then after a certain point, they were causing the issues. So then every movie was them dealing with
Yeah.
the
It's
thing from before.
it's like Dark Knight Returns, right? When Batman's talking to Superman. I know we're skipping universes. I mean, that's a good book, okay? We're not talking about films in this moment. That's a good fucking book. I will not have anyone besmirch the lore of that particular universe, the Dark Knight graphic novels.
But see,
But they have that conversation, right? They have that exact conversation where Bruce is like, you know, this stuff only really happens because you're here. Like there
Yeah.
would be no intergalactic like giant trying to split open the earth. He's just trying to piss you off so you can have a fight. Best thing you could do is like go away. I'm keeping people from being sexually assaulted. I'm like keeping people from having their like their small businesses being burnt down. Yes, there's lots of problematic stuff that Bruce does throughout, obviously, but yeah, like I agree. Yeah, a lot of the superhero stuff is just kind of self-fulfilling. It's just sort of like a
well now like
like
the
a
modern
battery.
stuff is
Yeah.
like, even like that Flash show. I was just like speaking of DC, I was just like. It's all just like them and their loved ones and just doing whatever it takes to save, like, I don't know.
You got something against Barry
No, just like,
doing what he can. He can't lift heavy
I don't even
things,
know what we
man.
were
It's
talking
not
about
his
because you
fault.
brought in DC, like, fuck.
I was just talking about you were talking about ground heroes and
Oh, yeah.
how
Yeah.
like you know how like these big like the Avengers, like all these big super flights and tights groups basically perpetuate the thing.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't, I mean, maybe Ultron would have existed, but like really without Tony doing all this
Well,
stuff?
it's like man,
know?
like, they basically,
Would there be gods
they did
facing Thor?
they did what they did to Iron Man with Spider-Man, where it's like, Peter Parker, there's no difference now. Like, Peter Parker doesn't exist. Like, one of the, like, we're missing, like, so much important parts of the characters that were so, like, they're, like,
For sure. Like
the aspect of Peter where he was, like, especially in the 90s cartoon was, like, the biggest, because no one taught me how to, like, understand and read comics when I was a kid, so it was, like, I had that cartoon, and it was, like, one of the biggest character hoops or whatever for Peter was having to juggle both lives simultaneously and like help support his aunt and like his family and everything, but then also like scamming the fucking J. Jonah Jameson
Yeah.
by using his
Just
egos
Yeah, for
to
sure.
work together like
Just
that. Like
bilking him out of money because you really want this picture of Spider-Man looking mean, don't you? I got one of them looking
how will
mean.
how will he ever do that now? Because everyone knows who Peter like.
That's why he's working at the lab.
What lab?
It's from the video game.
Oh,
Right, Xbox. Sorry.
it's just like
Oh man, I gotta like loan you it or something.
Just
You have
broke
to
my
play that
heart.
game if you like Spider-Man.
I don't know if I do anymore, but
Oh, okay.
I know. No, I love him, of course. But
Like,
no,
alright.
but Sony is doing it. So, like they just released the image of the Silk cartoon series that they're creating,
Oh, right on.
and she's like,
Looks cool.
it looks good, but like I loved her character so much when she first came out. Like, it's gonna be fun because those are like, it's just so cool to see them actually, especially Silk, because her character is like, they retconned Spider-Man's origin story, and they're like, the spider bit him, and a few seconds later it died, and they're like, a lot can happen in a few seconds, and turns out it bit one of his classmates.
And they just kept the secret better.
No, she got locked in a vault for 13 years. Because
Yeah. Okay. As one would do.
no,
That's what we do.
because she's like, it leads into the whole Spider-Verse storyline where it's like she is like this like the spider totem is like exists in all realities. And that's how they redid the remember in the old 90s cartoon when Spider-Man did the multiverse thing with all the other Spider-Men?
Yeah.
This was like the reinvention of that.
Like when he went on the planet thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that was Secret Wars. That was after.
Right.
But this was
Oh, are you talking about the Clone Saga? Or no, you're talking about different realities. Sorry.
yeah, I'm talking about the Spider-Verse, where it was like this family of hunters or whatever was going after, and Spider-Man, all in every reality, they were the spider totems or whatever. And this family was like feeding on the spider totems, and she was like the chosen, like the sweetest morsel they could have, basically. Like once she, like when she was out of the vault, they could know where she is exactly and come and destroy the fucking world. So that's why they like locked her in this vault, and then Spider-Man like finds the vault and finds her, and he's like, what the fuck? And because they were bit by the same spider, there's some kind of pheromone thing with their powers, and they just like they can't stop, like they can't keep their hands off each other for like, so like it takes like a while for them to have to be like, all right, well, that was obviously like, you know, when you're like in the rush of the passion of a moment. They were in that for like a while, like
Wow.
constantly.
Oh.
And then they were just like, after a while, they're just like, well, that was, guess we're over that.
That was something.
Yeah, we ran through that. And then her costume for the first while, because she could actually produce her own web, her costume was web.
All right.
That was like scarved up around her.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds really
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, she was, it was when they really blew up the Spider family and just made it like, I have most of the Spider-Verse comics, and it's just like fucking, it's wild and intense and pretty sad sometimes, watching all these dudes die. But I'm stoked for Sony to be actually developing these projects, because they're looking into like a Kraven movie
Oh, right on.
and shit, like, which would be like, have you ever read Kraven's Last Hunt?
No.
Bro, it's like one of the greatest comics I've ever, because it was like, it's such a strange subversion of superhero stories. But I don't really want to, should I spoil it? Like, I don't,
I mean, anybody who's watching this could just as easily look up whatever on the Spider-Verse, so.
yeah, well, this is completely different. I think this came out in the this came out like maybe in the 90s. It was
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right, so it was a story called Kraven's Last Hunt. It was basically like, if they ever did a movie with this, man, holy fuck. So basically, like, Kraven goes on his last hunt. It's because this comics is from Craven's point of view, I'm pretty sure. And basically he hunts Spider-Man and defeats him and buries him and then takes his suit and then he goes out and be's a better Spider-Man than Spider-Man was.
Oh wow.
And then he kills himself with a shotgun.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like,
Why?
and I think that's what inspired Superior Spider-Man, because that's what Doctor Octopus did in the whole line. It's the title Superior Spider-Man, because basically Doctor Octopus came to this whole like philosophical revelation where he's like, the only way to truly beat Spider-Man. What context is where we're starting.
About what?
What I was talking about.
Okay, if you're leading it, it's fine. If I gotta lead on just those 2 words, man, I'm gonna need some context. Oh, actually, yeah.
So yeah, basically he had a whole fucking philosophical revelation where it was like, to beat Spider-Man, I must become him and be a better version of him. And
Yeah, as long as you're leading it, man, I'm golden. I just, I can listen to what you say and play off it, but if I just start talking with you just being like philosophical revelation, that'd be a trick.
so basically, he had to become the better version of Spider-Man. So he'd switch bodies with Peter Parker, and that's where the Superior Spider-Man came from. And then, basically, he lived as Peter Parker for this, like, created this whole corporation, this technological industry or whatever. And he had, like, a girlfriend and everything. Like, he had this whole life. And then he just was like, all right, well, I obviously, if I really want to be the hero I'm trying to be, I have to give the body back. So he gives the body back to Peter Parker. And that's pretty much like he comes back to this life where he's just like this girl's in love with him and he's like,
Yeah, I don't know who you are.
yeah, I'm so sorry. And then I'm pretty sure this is right around when he found the vault and that whole Spider-Verse thing started going. How it ends.
Yeah.
I only buy.
Yeah,
like,
I haven't read it all
if
the way
I
to
want
the end either.
If I want a story, like, I have to buy like the compendium. Like, issue to issue is so
It's brutal. It lasts for years.
like even volumes. I'm
Waiting
like,
for a season is a torture. Waiting for
like I need
one
to
of
get
the
back.
storylines to end. You're like, well, you know, I wonder if I'll finish it before I become a grandfather. Like,
Well, that's why like I have 3 compendiums for The Walking Dead, and it's like every time I've gotten one, it's just been like you can't stop and you don't have to. Like that's like I have a lot of single issue comics and shit, and it's like I love them, and I love the feeling of going through the stacks and shit, just like. But then it's like I'm getting like half a story.
yeah, dude, I like.
Not even.
I think about the ones that I bought when like I was a kid. You go to like your grandmother's house or whatever.
You read it and you're like, well, that was.
It's just like 2 of 5.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you didn't get the first one. Like I remember, I think it's like 2 of either 5 or 7 of when like the new, like when Kyle became the Green Lantern and he got the ring and he's a graphic designer and all that shit. I didn't know that was all part of the like the Hal Jordan, like the big Hal Jordan story. I had no idea when I was a child.
DC?
Yeah, Green Lantern.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
When Kyle becomes a Green Lantern, he's like a failed graphic artist, and I just have this like one-off issue, and I couldn't find the other ones. Same thing. I have an issue of X-Men, where Xavier's son is like first like just
Legion?
it's fucking shit up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like Legion, like 3 of 8 or 3 of 11 or something, and it was a cool bit of the story.
He's like, what's.
But we didn't have the internet back then, you know. I was like, I'm watching the X-Men cartoon show, hoping they're gonna bring it up, and they kind of do. But he's like that weird pink thing,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, the art was so cool, and then like as an adult, it's awesome to be able to just read through the whole story. But yeah, the one-off comics, it's not the way for me either, man. I like when I bought the whole Y the Last Man, and read through the whole
Oof.
thing as one.
Man, I wish we
Or,
could be in a political place to ever have that show made. God.
Yeah, it would be really
I've
cool.
been, like, I was hoping they were gonna do that back in like probably 2014, when I was just like,
Yeah, I'd heard some rumblings.
yeah, same, probably right around then, and it was just like, and then because it's so prime and beautiful, and like they could do so much cool shit.
I know
with
all
it.
the like cool
But then
post-apocalyptic landscapes.
but then
and
because
like
it's
the
about
dudes in
one
space.
man, it can never. Even though it's about all the women,
It's just not
around it.
Yeah, it's not.
But it can't be.
I think we're gonna like. I mean, social shifts come in waves, and we were talking about this off camera earlier, right? Like, you know, oppressed people oftentimes feel like they could do a better job. Understandably, they're being oppressed, and then like at a later time, you still find that the sociopaths and the power hungry rise to the cream of the crop, and so it's just a different kind of awful, right?
Well, it takes counterculture creatives, but with culture, like the resources of the culture,
Yeah, and I
which
think
is hard to fucking.
especially with that book, you really like you have to look like there's a lot of gender work to like climb through. A lot of
Because it's also like it's looking at the world as like, so this is actually what the world would be if men didn't exist, and this is how we would have the women would have to cope with the reality of. Because I've always wanted to write this like stupid story about like Romeo and Juliet, but they both come from like gender divided sex, and then them coming together.
so it's
is,
like a queer Romeo and Juliet, sort of.
yeah, but like a weird twist on. Like I could never fully flesh out the story where I'm like, what like where's this going? How do I write this in a way that's not being too obligatory or
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do.
I think like I don't know for Why the Last Man though. Oh fuck! Doesn't even make sense. Clearly says we have another 4 minutes.
That's pretty tired.
Oh,
Right. Just switch it out. Stay on the top. I mean, we can keep talking till we're still recording, and then I can put like.
yeah, might as well. Sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah, that would have been such a great story,
Yeah, it's an amazing story.
and like
Honestly, I think that's probably my singular favorite graphic novel.
yeah,
I love Flights and Tights. I love all kinds of like meta Star Trek, Star Wars, like all these extended universes. But
Well, it was Walking Dead that first like introduced me to like non-superhero stuff.
yeah,
But then it was like Why the Last Man was actual the comic book series where someone I was working with had the whole series and he would just give volume by volume and I would just read them and it was like watching episode by episode, you know. And you're just like
yeah, I can't say enough about that fucking thing.
it's just like
such shit,
understand, bro.
I know, right? His own little Apu.
Like
Abu.
you need to go back and rewatch that or something.
Yeah, it's worth a reread. I've read it like 2 full times in like parts over again.
Yeah, we talked about Saga last time.
Yeah.
Boom.
Did it. How's the framing? Is that okay?
It's good. We gotta get it. Well, it's good.
All right. So I'm just gonna crouch down a little then. Cool. This is gonna be the theme of the show. You know that, right?
What?
People aren't gonna view into like hear our opinions. So just
Yeah,
like,
until we
like,
have a producer.
What kind of technological problems are they gonna have this time? What sort of technological adventures will they go on? Yeah. So, anyways, Why the Last Man? I really feel like, you know, for that sort of a universe to be done justice, yeah, you need a solid, like multi-directional approach. Like you really need, at least I would think, a man and a woman at the very least to check in, you know, to see if all that stuff rings true, right? Because like I mean, you know, like if I wrote just like a woman's universe, even if I was trying to do my best to be fair with it, it would be like, you know, I'm just inherently biased, like everybody is with their own sort of invisible lenses and stuff, right? But
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
they did a
like-
pretty good job for the most part.
It's just trying to be human, I guess. Really.
Yeah.
Like a human experience.
Yeah.
And it's that, and in that, I'm not saying we're all It's in that we all suffer differently, but we all still suffer.
Yeah, exactly. And we all have the potential to fall to the same pitfalls.
Yeah, because we all like comfort, and we all like to feel good, and we all like, there's certain draws that draw all of us,
Mm-hmm.
and it sucks because we're really catering to it right now. Like, I feel like a show like Why the Last Man couldn't happen right now because it's just like the audience is they're too ravenous for something like that to just rip it apart and just be like,
Yeah, and the other polarization on the other side, they wouldn't have any interest in it at all. It would just be all these edgelords being like edgy.
well, it'd be one side being like, look at all these women, and then it would be the other side being like, look at this man. It's like,
Yeah, as if that would happen. And it's like, as if that would
oh,
happen.
a show about a woman's
Yeah,
world, and
there's
it'd be
no-
like, oh, a show about a man in a woman's world. It's just like there's no, and then there would be the animal rights people being like, what about the monkey?
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's unfortunate because I would like that's in my top 5 all time to be turned into like a piece of cinema or a show. I mean, it has so much potential. Like, I mean, it's a limited storyline. It's not as long as
No, but that's the thing. It's perfect because it has a good and a beginning and a fucking end. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it has multiple acts too. It'd
Yeah.
be really easy to divide into a thing.
and it goes as far enough into the future where the story becomes like it's not about just the man. It's about the people and shit, and how we do need each other.
Yeah,
Because that's what happens in the end, right? It's like it was like the craziest. Like, I remember the huge sad twist at the end with his
Yeah.
bodyguard.
yeah.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
but then it's just like, but then
That
that,
one's
but
too good.
just
I
how
can't
far
wait to
they
ruin it
went
for
into the
anybody.
future was like, it was almost jarring how far they went into the future because you were like, the way the future was, it was hard to understand at first. I was like, wait, what? All right,
Yeah,
that's dope.
yeah,
But it's perfect. Like, I'm talking about like, this show would have been prime. Like, remember back in the day when you get excited for Sunday night when Walking Dead would come on, and it would be like,
it would have been a great pairing.
who's getting it tonight? Like, what's
Yeah.
going down? And then it all just became about creators commandeering ships and repainting them completely. Like, when they killed Carl, that's pretty much when I lost hope.
Yeah, that was a tough moment.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense.
No, because Negan bonds with Carl.
Well, and like
Like-
for me, the story was about Carl. Like, he was.
Yeah, he's us. He's
Ye-
the person like from the childhood seeing everyone do everything,
Yeah.
and then he becomes the like.
Well, for me, the best analogy I have for it is Enzo from Reboot, like when he becomes the Matrix.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like season 2 or 3, and that's when it's like, that's what I was hoping for Carl. I was like, we're gonna see this kid go through all these trials, and like the stuff his dad did. Like, remember those guys who were gonna fucking take him, and they were just holding like that whole scene. I was just like, because I've been wanting to go back and rewatch it, but I'm like, I don't know if like I want to, but I need to stay present in the episodes and not think towards the future of like what the fuck happens, because it's just like, I don't know. I'm gonna watch the newest season when it finally comes out, season 10 or whatever, when it gets on Netflix or whenever. Because I think I've only seen season 9, but it's like, I don't know. After seeing what happened with Fear the Walking Dead, I don't really.
yeah, yeah. I want to check out the series, but I haven't. I think I
What?
saw like 20 minutes.
Walking
of,
Dead?
No, the new one.
Oh, the New World one or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, the
I haven't
outer,
seen that
outer
one.
Worlds. or
Yeah, I haven't
something.
seen that one.
Yeah, I only saw like 20 minutes of one of the episodes.
It's like the Stranger Things.
Sort of.
Yeah,
Sort of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walking Dead. Yeah, they had to bring the kids back in, right? Because that's the thing. They lost all their old fans. Like, man, TV was so like those couple years.
We have good stuff now, though. You don't think
It's
any?
not
You don't
this-
think anything's good now?
It's not the same.
Nothing good on TV.
No, I'm talking about like.
Man, this show's not.
I'm
gonna
talking
go
about the
very
stuff that like. No, I'm talking about the stuff that brought people together. Like, me and my friends would gather on Sunday night and watch Game of Thrones and Walking Dead.
far. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because those are the two best shows on TV, and they were doing huge things based on like amazing lore from literary sources.
the streaming services weren't as big anymore, but it was also like. Yeah, it was just like. I don't know, different. Because now it's just like even WandaVision, like I wasn't like hyped for it. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad. Like
It was sort of middle of the road. Like I said, there's some things I really liked
I
about
more
it. But
clung to it to like be a part of the conversation, but it was almost like I wasn't like I just didn't feel for it, really. It was kind of like I made it all up in my head, and then it disappeared when I was done with it.
I had higher expectations. Like when I heard the concept and I watched the first bit of it and realized what they were trying to do with it, I was really hoping for something.
But then as I
exceptional.
started just like.
But I think I like it more than you do, frankly.
Well, I think I'm just really bitter about like witches before mutants and like the lack of X-Men, and like maybe like the only X-Men we'll have is what Fox did, you know?
No, I think. I mean, are you talking about like the difference between X-Men and the potential rebrand of the mutants? Because like if they're
Yeah.
using the same characters, what's the difference for you?
They're not going to be the same characters.
No,
I don't know what like.
I admit I have a hard time seeing a Wolverine that's not Hugh Jackman. That's gonna be a tough cast.
Well, no, because they're going to have to make him actually look like Wolverine and not Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's pretty well ingrained in the role. It's like
But actual
what's his name,
Wolverine.
Kevin Conroy, not doing voices of Batman in TV shows. It's hard for me, man. I've watched so many
Yeah.
hours of him
But it's like
talking.
Wolverine's actually only
with
like
a hood.
5 foot, and he's like not supposed to be like devilishly handsome.
Yeah, of course. He's supposed to be like reasonably handsome. He's not like hideous.
Not
he's just
really.
like
He's like a beast. He's like savage.
yeah. Why can't that be attractive?
Well,
What are you trying to say, man?
I mean, he's
What are you
not
trying
like
to say?
he's not like Broadway front man.
No.
He's more like fucking like
Yeah, admittedly,
Broadway,
Hugh Jackman
like-
started with what, like soap operas and theater, right? But a lot of actors did, I guess. But definitely a height requirement, yeah, because Hugh Jackman's like 6 foot, isn't he? Like
Like, there were-
5'11"?
like Hugh Jackman had the moments where he
Should
was
be like
Wolverine.
my size or smaller and sort of built like a bulldog.
But he was like he had the moments when he would like let it out, but he was just more tamed and controlled.
Mm-hmm.
But there were those moments like when he would just be like I think it was X2 when he's running through the Brotherhood camp.
Yeah.
That was like as close as we got.
But
But
that-
even then, you could see the way he moves. You're like, he's supposed to be smaller and stouter because even like he was too long to be.
Yeah. He's supposed to be like rolling around, getting under people and gutting them and stuff.
Yeah.
But then the other problem is, actually, some of those films are pretty gory. Maybe not the like X-Men
No,
movies. Yeah, Logan's
is what
pretty
they did.
gory.
And I'll honestly like I'll always hold those X-Men movies pretty.
In pretty high esteem, yeah.
Yeah, because like I don't know, they're like one of the first like big Marvel movies to come out.
Well, yeah, and like look
Not
who they have.
Marvel, but like superhero, like on that side. Aside from the '90s Batman shit,
Yeah.
like, and I saw it in theaters like back in the, and
Yeah,
it was
me
just
too,
like.
But they had such heavy hitters for actors, right? Like the big conflict, the huge like apex between the two is like Sir Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. Like, come on. How are you like how are you going to replace that?
Yeah.
You know, it's impossible.
Well, they did pretty good with Fassbender.
Yeah, I'm not that upset about
Like, I like-
McAvoy either. He's like not great, but he's
McAvoy's alright,
terrible.
but Fassbender's fucking.
Yeah, he's real good.
He's just missing that. I don't know how you'd get the hair. I don't know if he could do it.
Yeah, I think he's just got that like stick straight hair. They might have to perm it. Perm it into like a 90s fucking who
'Cause
had
it's like-
that? It's like a MacGyver haircut? No.
Mm.
That's more of like a bouffant mullet.
Because even
What kind of
that's
hairstyle
like.
is that? It's like Michael Landon on fucking what was that old Little House on the Prairie? I didn't really watch that, but I'm just saying that hairstyle. You know, the Magneto
No,
coif.
we're not going to Little Hairs on the Prairie.
Little hairs on the prairie.
Yeah. All right, no.
We're definitely never doing an episode about Little House on the Prairie. I refuse. Refuse.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just because like I adored the X-Men so much. But like even like Age of Apocalypse story's really fucking whack. But like I love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. And it was cool that they touched on some of the like time travel, alternate stuff. But yeah, I didn't think it's done so well, in the comics, right?
You could see it like teetering out, and then once they got to Dark Phoenix, it was gone. Whatever they were trying to do was so gone. I don't even know if I finished that movie.
Yeah, that was like, because I remember when they announced it, I was like, are they gonna do the Shi'ar Empire? Like, how are they doing this?
They did,
but
Or something.
Sort of. Yeah.
And I just like the actress just didn't do it for me. They all seem so like young still.
Famke Johnson's pretty old though.
Yeah, maybe it was like the whole watching her grow
Not
up.
like old. Sorry, don't at me.
But there was a thing
I'm
when-
just saying, like she's been in a lot of films for a long time. Yeah, I was gonna say we just went over.
no shit. With her fucking framing, it's gonna be so funny. It's gonna be like forehead talking.
Oh, is it down lower?
Yeah, it was earlier. That's why I told you.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, it's just there's a little bit of play, and when you let go of the lever, it tips forward a little bit. There we go. Sort of. It's gonna be funny, like the frame jump.
I don't care.
All right, you start it.
Yeah, the red light's on. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so
Yeah, I'm telling you. It's,
okay, so X-Men.
all new equipment, similar failures.
So I guess all in all, Disney's gonna do their thing, and we can just hope that whatever's not made by Disney is a lot better than what we've got.
High hopes, low expectations. Is that fair?
I mean, it's
Medium expectations. Disney doesn't suck that bad, but there's some patterns. Yeah, there's some patterns for sure. I certainly hope they get the like leveling of the superheroes right, much better than they did with Star Wars.
just weird. It's like,
Where it's just like anybody at any moment can just be like a Jedi,
yeah, because it's like, what stories are we like? I don't know. It's just getting like.
Or
It just
be a
feels like what I
Jedi.
was saying earlier about like showrunners commandeering the ship back for Walking Dead and stuff like that. It's just like that's what they're doing with. It's like they bought up all our action figures, and now it's just they're doing weird shit with it.
Yeah, it's like what like Kenner and all those companies did when we were kids. Now it's just we're all adults and they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Mattel. It's just like
Yeah, but
it's the same.
those were actual just toys.
But no, man. No, Mattel, like several companies, they had toy lines,
Yeah.
and then they created a cartoon show. Some of my favorite
yeah,
cartoon shows,
yeah.
literally just to sell the toys.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. And I guess Lucas, yeah, he was like the first person to really market toy lines off
No,
of
my point was way
off
different.
a film. What was your point? Sorry.
I'm just saying they took all the the franchises we love are represented by the action figures.
Yeah.
And they took them all, and now they're just like dipping them in fucking paint and fucking putting them in the microwave with Barbies and just fucking mucking it up.
Speaking of, if we get to 5 episodes, Dollarama mukbang. Also, don't at me. We're doing it.
That
Yes, we do.
Dollyrama.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah. Final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts. I don't know. I thought, granted, I wasn't as intimately entangled in the storyline, but I thought Wanda was pretty entertaining. I was a little disappointed with the lack of like gravity of certain situations. Even some of the battle sequences between the witches, I was a little
Very
disappointed.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I
Like-
felt like it could have been done a lot better. That said, though, I did really
Especially
like.
after Doctor Strange. Like, that shit was insane in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, like that was much more thought out, right? All that crazy like.
It was just different magic, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a whole other.
But yeah, I liked a lot of the meta stuff, the things they threw in with like Wizard
Easter
of
eggs.
Oz, all the like I don't know, as a longtime fan of lore and cinema, like yeah, it was nice to see some of that stuff. And they're sort of paying homage to the television thing, but ultimately, yeah, the end bit fell flat because it's just, you know, she literally had people as mind slaves for an indeterminate amount of time. And they're like begging to either die or be let free. Mm-hmm. And then, like, you know, she runs away from them, and 10 minutes later, yeah, she's being congratulated for being a great hero. And, like,
Well, that was the weird
I
thing.
mean,
Is like
Vision got Vision to be saved. So aside from that, what did she do besides live out, like, a manifestation of her sorrow and loss? That's compelling.
Yeah.
But the end result, I really think, yeah, everyone being like, thumbs up.
yeah, because it was
It's
like
really, like,
this whole thing happened. All these people are just like shaken, and then all the people we were watching develop through this whole show, they're just like, all right, and they just walk away,
yeah.
and you're just like,
Yeah, they're like, come on, Wanda, let's go.
I think Hayward might become Red Hulk. Maybe.
That could be interesting.
I just have that vibe about him, you know. He's got the
Okay.
haircut for it.
Cool.
But yeah, it was just so, it's like they like lit something on fire, then they're.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess
But-
that's what we do.
Potentially future interesting storylines to do with Vision. You know, like Wanda stuff could be cool too. I don't know. The
Quicksilver.
Yeah. I actually like that character though. I think that the character
everyone
is
does.
cool.
That's why we're all so excited. Now it
Yeah,
just
it's probably why they threw him in there. Like, admittedly,
it
when
gave
I
us
saw him, I was like, okay,
a boner.
nice. I wish I could remember. I think it's Charles in Charge. It's either that or Growing Pains.
But-
Anyhow, I guess. So our next
Dude.
one. Sorry, go ahead.
Falcon and Winter Soldier starts on the 21st,
All right, yeah.
and there's the Snyder cut.
Okay, so
Justice League.
maybe I shouldn't be so quick to be like, yeah, next time we're gonna do this because we had something planned, but those two sound like equally or more compelling options.
We could do what we planned, and then we could even do a Snyder cut one. So that'll be interesting. And then, as Falcon and Winter Soldier rolls on, we can do them
Okay.
if we want to do them more frequently.
Right on. All right. So I guess this concludes episode
Yeah.
2 of Lore Horrors. Every episode, a new technical foible, and a lot of us giving our opinions.
We're figuring it out. We got
Yep.
the mic and camera this time, but maybe next time we'll have some more. Maybe we'll have another person behind this foamy, spiky wall. Who knows?
Yeah, we're trying to work out a co-producer.
All right, and I've been one of your hosts, Nicholas Ridiculous, aka Nick Ridic, aka the Purple Hyena, and you can find me at Nicholas Ridiculous, www.nicholasridiculous.ca.
That's the 15th time. It's got to be at least.
Bulma down. www.underbellysociety.com, dimebagcrew.ca for music, fashion, and music. And yeah, hit up my website or Instagram to keep up with everything.
I'm Eric. I don't have any social media whatsoever. I'm just talking about stuff I love. Either way, though, hope to see you on the next one. And have a good life in between. Cheers.
Make me look so lame.
What's that?
Make me look so lame with all my tags.
Your tags?
No, you're doing stuff, man. I'm not doing shit. You're doing stuff. I wasn't trying to be like, yeah, I'm cool because I'm not like, I'm not doing art. I'm not making music. I'm not making clothing. I'm not doing podcasts. I'm not doing anything.